My sister laughed when I asked about my share of the $7 million. The call from the accountant ended that smile. Your share? My sister Vanessa threw her head back and laughed, the sound echoing through Mom's empty living room. We were surrounded by boxes, sorting through our mother's estate 3 weeks after her funeral. Oh, Riley, that's adorable. You actually think you're getting part of this? I stared at her, holding the financial statement I'd just found. $7 million. Mom's life insurance, investment accounts, the proceeds from selling her house. All of it listed under Vanessa's name as sole beneficiary. Mom wouldn't have cut me out completely, I said, my voice shaking. I took care of her for 2 years. I quit my job. I moved back home. Vanessa's smile was cruel. And I'm the one who actually succeeded in life. The one she was proud of. The daughter who didn't waste her potential working as a nurse. She picked up a box dismissively. Face it, Riley. Mom made her choice. Winners and losers. You've always been the latter. My hands were trembling. 2 years of round-the-clock care. Changing bedpans. Managing medications. Holding Mom's hand through chemo. Sleeping on her floor during the bad nights. I'd given up everything. Vanessa had visited twice. Both times for less than an hour. My name is Riley Caldwell, and my sister just made the biggest mistake of her life. Growing up, Vanessa was the golden child. Beautiful, charismatic, ambitious. She became a corporate lawyer, married a surgeon, lived in a penthouse downtown. Everything she touched turned to gold. I was the practical one. Became a nurse. Worked long shifts at the hospital. Lived in a modest apartment. Helped people instead of making money. Mom never hid her favoritism. She bragged about Vanessa at every family gathering. Her successful daughter. Her pride and joy. When people asked about me, she'd say, Riley's doing her little nursing thing. When Mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 3 years ago, Vanessa was too busy to help. Important cases. Can't take time off. She'd send expensive gift baskets and write checks as if money could replace presents. I took a leave of absence from the hospital. Then, when Mom got worse, I quit entirely. Moved into her house. Became her full-time caregiver. You're so good at this, Mom would say, as if caregiving was my calling rather than my sacrifice. Vanessa could never do what you do. She's meant for bigger things. Even while dying, Mom ranked us. During those 2 years, I watched my savings disappear. Mom's insurance covered some medical costs, but I had to pay for my own expenses. Groceries. Gas. The few moments I could hire a home health aide to give me a break. Vanessa sent money occasionally. Always with a note like, for Mom's care, or to help with expenses. As if I was the hired help. I never asked for anything from Mom. Never mentioned money. I was there because she was my mother. Because someone had to be. 3 months before Mom died, she seemed lucid one afternoon. Riley, honey, we need to talk about after. Don't talk like that, I said automatically. No, listen. I need you to know you'll be taken care of. After I'm gone. I've made sure of it. I'd assumed she meant life insurance. A fair split. Recognition of what I'd sacrificed. I'd been so naive. The funeral was expensive. Vanessa insisted on the best of everything. Mom deserves it, she said, writing checks without hesitation. I couldn't even afford to chip in. Now, 3 weeks later, I was standing in Mom's house discovering that taken care of meant watching my sister inherit everything while I got nothing. This can't be right, I said, staring at the documents. The will must be outdated. Vanessa pulled out her phone. Want to call the lawyer? Be my guest. Mom updated everything 6 months ago. I have the signed documents. I called the estate lawyer that night. His name was Harold Finch, and he'd handled Mom's affairs for 20 years. Miss Caldwell, yes, your mother's will is quite clear. Your sister Vanessa is the sole beneficiary of all assets. My throat was tight. All of them. Yes. The life insurance, investment accounts, property sale proceeds. Everything. He paused. I did advise your mother to consider a more balanced distribution, given your caregiving role. But she was quite adamant. Did she say why? Another pause. Longer this time. She felt that Vanessa had greater financial acumen. That the assets would be better managed in her hands. better managed. As if I'd proven myself incompetent by choosing caregiving over career climbing. What about the money Vanessa sent during Mom's illness? The checks for my expenses? Those were gifts from Vanessa to you, not loans from the estate. There's no legal obligation to repay them, but also no claim against the estate. After I hung up, I sat in my empty apartment and cried. Not sad tears. Angry tears. Betrayed tears. I'd sacrificed 2 years, my career, my savings. For what? To watch my sister laugh while collecting $7 million? Then I remembered something. The documents in Mom's desk. The ones I'd found while cleaning. I went back to Mom's house the next day. Vanessa wasn't there. She'd hired an estate sale company to deal with most of it. Too busy to sort through Mom's things herself. I went straight to Mom's home office. The desk where she'd kept important papers. I'd been organizing files when I found the financial statements yesterday. But there'd been other documents too. I pulled out the bottom drawer. Found the folder labeled medical expenses. Inside were receipts. Thousands of them. Every medication. Every doctor's appointment. Every piece of medical equipment. All dated from the past 2 years. And every single one was marked paid by Riley Caldwell. My hands started shaking. I pulled out my phone and took pictures of everything. Then I found another folder. Home modifications. Wheelchair ramp. Hospital bed. Bathroom grab bars. Shower chair. All necessary for Mom's care. All purchased and installed by me. All paid from my dwindling savings. Total cost, over $80,000. I found my bank statements from the past 2 years. Every withdrawal. Every credit card charge. Everything I'd spent caring for Mom while Vanessa sent her occasional, generous checks. The checks that totaled maybe $15,000 over 2 years. I called a lawyer. Not Harold Finch. A different one. Someone who specialized in estate disputes. Her name was Octavia Pierce, and she had a reputation for winning impossible cases. Tell me everything, she said when we met. I showed her the receipts. The bank statements. The documented proof that I'd spent over $80,000 on Mom's care. Money that should have been the estate's responsibility. Your sister sent some money? Octavia asked. Maybe $15,000 total. She acted like it was a fortune. Octavia smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. So you subsidized your mother's care to the tune of $65,000 while your sister contributed a fraction of that? Yes. And now she's inheriting $7 million while you get nothing? That's right. Octavia leaned back. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to file a claim against the estate for reimbursement. Every dollar you spent on your mother's care was money that preserved the estate's value. You have a legal right to repayment before any distributions are made. My heart was pounding. Can we actually do that? Absolutely. Estate law allows for caregiver reimbursement when the caregiver can prove they paid for expenses that should have been covered by the estate. You have receipts, bank statements, documentation. This is textbook. Vanessa will fight this. Let her. Discovery will be very interesting. The claim was filed 3 days later. $83,412. Every cent I'd spent, documented and verified. Vanessa called me screaming. Are you seriously suing Mom's estate? Our mother's estate. I'm claiming reimbursement for expenses I paid that should have been covered by the estate. Those were gifts. You chose to spend that money. Did I? Or did I spend it because Mom needed care and you were too busy to provide it? I sent you money. $15,000 over 2 years. I spent $83,000. Silence. Then, you kept receipts? Every single one. This is disgusting. Trying to profit from Mom's death. I'm not profiting. I'm asking to be made whole. There's a difference. She hung up. But I knew this was just beginning. Octavia called the next day. Vanessa's lawyer contacted us. They want to settle. Already? They know you have documentation. They know reimbursement claims take priority over beneficiary distributions. Fighting this would delay her inheritance for months, maybe years. Octavia paused. They offered $50,000. That's not even 2/3 of what I spent. I know. I told them no. Stand firm, Riley. We have the evidence. The counteroffer came back at $60,000. Then $70,000. Octavia rejected them all. Full amount or we go to court, she told them. Your choice. While the legal battle dragged on, I started digging deeper into Mom's finances. Octavia had requested full estate documentation during discovery. Every account, every transaction, every asset. What I found was interesting. Mom's investment accounts showed regular withdrawals over the past 3 years. Large ones. 50,000 here. 70,000 there. The account that should have had over $2 million had less than $1 million. I showed Octavia. Where did this money go? She reviewed the statements carefully. The withdrawals are all made by wire transfer. To an account we'll need to trace. She looked up. This could be nothing. Or it could be everything. Let me hire a forensic accountant. 3 weeks later, the forensic accountant, a woman named Simone Park, called us both. I traced the withdrawals, she said. They all went to the same account. An account held jointly by your mother and Vanessa. My stomach dropped. Joint account. Yes. Established 3 years ago, right after your mother's diagnosis. Your mother would transfer money and Vanessa would withdraw it. Over 3 years, approximately $800,000 moved through this account. What did Vanessa use it for? That's the interesting part. Most of it went to investment accounts in Vanessa's name only. She was essentially transferring your mother's wealth to herself while your mother was alive. Octavia was smiling again. That shark smile. That's elder financial abuse. The discovery changed everything. We amended our claim to include a full accounting of the joint account and all transfers. We also filed a separate action alleging financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Vanessa's lawyer called Octavia directly. This is overreach. Those transfers were gifts. Mrs. Caldwell was helping her daughter invest. Mrs. Caldwell was dying of cancer and on heavy pain medication, Octavia replied. The transfers began immediately after her diagnosis. That's not gift-giving. That's exploitation. We can prove Mrs. Caldwell was competent. Then why didn't she give Riley any money? Why only Vanessa? Why secretly through a joint account instead of direct gifts? Octavia's voice was steel. We're going to depose every doctor who treated Mrs. Caldwell. We're going to get medical records showing her cognitive state. We're going to put your client on the stand and make her explain why she thought it was appropriate to drain her dying mother's accounts. The settlement offer came the next day. Full reimbursement of $83,000. Plus another $50,000 for pain and suffering. Octavia told them no. We want a full accounting. Every dollar returned to the estate before any distributions. That's $800,000. That's what your client took. Give it back or explain it to a judge. Vanessa showed up at my apartment that night, pounding on the door. When I opened it, she looked terrible. Hair messy. Makeup smudged. Nothing like the polished lawyer I knew. You're destroying me, she said. I'm asking for honesty. There's a difference. That money was Mom's. She wanted me to have it. Did she? Or did you convince her to transfer it while she was sick and scared? I was helping her. Managing her investments. Into accounts with only your name? How is that helping her? Vanessa pushed past me into the apartment. You don't understand. I had expenses. The kids' school. The house. My partnership buy-in at the firm. I stared at her. You stole from our dying mother to pay for private school? I didn't steal. She gave it to me. While on morphine. While terrified. While depending on you to manage her affairs. I felt cold. You took advantage of her. No more than you did. Playing the martyr caregiver. Making everyone think you're such a saint. I actually took care of her. You stole from her. Vanessa's face crumpled. I needed that money. My firm is investigating me. Financial irregularities. Client account issues. If I don't pay it back, I'll be disbarred. And there it was. The truth. Vanessa hadn't been investing Mom's money. She'd been using it to cover fraud. I called Octavia immediately after Vanessa left. Told her about the firm investigation. The client account issues. That changes things, Octavia said. If Vanessa was using your mother's money to cover embezzlement, that's criminal. Not just civil estate issues. What do? We document everything. Record any future conversations with her. And we prepare for her to get desperate. Desperate was an understatement. Over the next week, Vanessa tried everything. She called crying. Sent long emails about family loyalty. Had her husband, Mitchell, call me to plead her case. She made a mistake, Mitchell said. She's getting help. Therapy. But if this goes public, her career is over. Her career should be over. She stole from our mother and from her clients. Think about your niece and nephew. They'll suffer if their mother goes to prison. They'll suffer more from learning their mother is a thief. The firm's investigation went public 2 weeks later. Senior partner under investigation for client fund misappropriation read the legal news headline. Vanessa was suspended. Then, when the full extent became clear, she was fired. Disbarred. Charged with multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. And through it all, our mother's estate remained frozen while the court sorted out what belonged where. The estate accounting took 4 months. Forensic accountants traced every dollar. The joint account. The transfers. The investments made with Mom's money. Total amount Vanessa had taken, $1.2 million. Some had been spent. Private school tuition. Luxury purchases. Country club dues. But most was still in accounts Vanessa controlled. The court ordered it all returned to the estate. Every penny. Vanessa's lawyer argued that the transfers were gifts. That Mom had been competent and willing. But then Octavia presented something devastating, testimony from Mom's oncologist. Mrs. Caldwell was on heavy pain medication for the last year of her life, the doctor testified. Her cognitive function was significantly impaired. I documented concerns about her ability to make complex financial decisions. Vanessa's case collapsed. The court ruled that the transfers were invalid. The money had to be returned. But Vanessa didn't have it anymore. She'd spent hundreds of thousands. Used it to cover her embezzlement at the firm. Tried to maintain a lifestyle she couldn't afford. She'll have to file bankruptcy, Octavia told me. The estate will get maybe half of what she took. The rest is gone. What about my reimbursement? That takes priority. You'll get your $83,000. But the rest of the estate will be diminished by what Vanessa stole and can't repay. I thought about that. Justice, but incomplete. Vanessa would lose everything, but some of Mom's money was gone forever. Then something unexpected happened. Harold Finch, Mom's estate lawyer, called me directly. Ms. Caldwell, I need to speak with you about something I found in your mother's papers. We met at his office. He looked uncomfortable. When your mother updated her will 6 months before she died, I advised her to include provisions for you. She refused. But she did give me this. He handed me an envelope with instructions to give it to you if there were any disputes about the estate. Inside was a letter. In Mom's handwriting. Riley, if you're reading this, something has gone wrong. I need you to know that I always intended to provide for you. The account at First National Bank under my maiden name was meant to be yours. The estate lawyer doesn't know about it because I set it up privately. I wanted to make sure Vanessa couldn't touch it. I love you both, but I know your sister has problems with money. This is for you. Mom. I stared at the letter. What account? Harold looked sheepish. I didn't know either. But after reading this, I did some research. Found an account at First National under Elizabeth Warren, your mother's maiden name. It has approximately $600,000. My hands were shaking. She left me money? Hidden money. Protected from the estate. Probably worried about exactly what ended up happening with Vanessa. He pulled out account documents. It's yours. Completely separate from the estate. The secret account changed everything. Not just financially, but emotionally. Mom had known. She'd seen Vanessa's problems. Had protected me the only way she knew how. And she'd done it quietly, without telling anyone, because she knew Vanessa would find a way to get it if she knew it existed. I called Octavia with the news. That's a significant development, she said. The account is entirely yours. Not part of the estate. Vanessa has no claim. Should we tell her? Not yet. Let's get your reimbursement settled first. Then you can decide what to disclose. The reimbursement came through 2 weeks later. $83,412. Deposited into my account. Money I'd spent caring for Mom, finally returned. Plus the $600,000 from the secret account. I was sitting on almost $700,000. More money than I'd ever imagined having. Vanessa, meanwhile, was in bankruptcy proceedings. Her house was being foreclosed. Her husband had filed for divorce. Her children were staying with his parents while she tried to sort out her legal issues. The golden child had fallen. Hard. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt sad. This was my sister, the person I'd grown up with. And she destroyed herself through greed and desperation. I hired a financial advisor, someone recommended by Octavia. Her name was Zoe Hamilton, and she specialized in helping sudden money recipients make smart decisions. $600,000 is life-changing, she told me. But it can disappear quickly if you're not careful. What are your goals? I want to go back to nursing, but maybe reduce my hours. Have a better work-life balance. Good. Realistic. Zoe ran some numbers. If we invest conservatively, you could draw $40,000 a year without touching the principal. That plus a part-time nursing salary would give you comfortable income. That's it? I thought I'd be rich. You're secure. That's better than rich. Rich people often end up broke. Secure people stay secure. She smiled. You could also do something meaningful. Start a foundation. Fund a scholarship. Help other caregivers. That idea stuck with me. Other caregivers. People like me who'd sacrificed everything to take care of family members. How much would it take to start a meaningful foundation? Zoe considered. To make real impact? Probably $200,000 initial funding. That would let you grant $20,000 a year to caregivers who need financial support. I thought about the 2 years with Mom. How desperately I'd needed help. How alone I'd felt. Let's do it. The Caldwell Caregiver Foundation launched 3 months later. Small. Simple. One mission. Providing emergency grants to family caregivers facing financial hardship. The first grant went to a woman named Patricia. She'd quit her job to care for her father with Alzheimer's. Was 3 months behind on rent. About to be evicted. I don't know how to thank you, she sobbed on the phone when I told her she'd been approved for a $5,000 grant. You don't have to thank me. Just take care of your dad. That's what matters. The foundation helped 12 caregivers in its first year. Rent assistance. Utility bills. Medical equipment. The kinds of expenses that buried people like me. I went back to nursing part-time. 3 days a week at the hospital. Enough to stay current with my skills and help people. Not so much that I burned out. The rest of my time went to the foundation. Reading applications. Interviewing caregivers. Making decisions about who to help. It was healing. Taking my pain and turning it into purpose. Meanwhile, Vanessa's trial proceeded. She pleaded guilty to embezzlement and fraud. Was sentenced to 4 years in prison, though her lawyer argued for leniency based on her mental health issues. I went to the sentencing hearing. Sat in the back. Watched my sister cry as the judge lectured her about betraying trust and abusing authority. Our eyes met once. She looked away quickly. Ashamed. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just a distant sadness for who she could have been. Mitchell, Vanessa's ex-husband, called me 6 months after her sentencing. I wanted you to know that the kids ask about you. Wonder why their aunt doesn't visit. I hadn't seen my niece and nephew since before Mom died. They were 9 and 12 now. Old enough to understand their mother was in prison, but not really why. I didn't think I'd be welcome, I said honestly. You're the only stable family they have left. Vanessa's parents passed years ago. My parents are helping, but they're in their 70s. He paused. I'm not asking for money or anything. Just, maybe you could visit? Let them know you exist. I met Maya and Cameron at a park the following weekend. They were shy at first. Then Maya, the younger one, asked, Did our mom really steal money from Grandma? I chose my words carefully. Your mom made some bad choices. She's paying for them now. But that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Everyone at school knows, Cameron said bitterly. They call her a criminal. She is, I said gently. But she's also your mom. Both things can be true. We talked for an hour. About school, friends, their dad's new apartment. Carefully avoiding the hard topics. At the end, Maya hugged me. Will you come back? If you want me to. We do. I started visiting monthly. Taking them to movies. Helping with homework. Being the aunt I should have been all along. Vanessa's prison allowed visitors after she'd served 6 months. Mitchell asked if I'd go with him and the kids. Are you sure? I asked. The kids need to see that adults can work through conflict. That family doesn't have to be permanent enemies. I agreed. Not for Vanessa. For Maya and Cameron. The visiting room was depressing. Gray walls. Plastic chairs. The smell of industrial cleaner. Vanessa looked smaller in her prison uniform. Older. Defeated. When she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. You came. For the kids, I said. We sat in awkward silence while Maya and Cameron chattered about school and soccer and their new puppy. Vanessa listened hungrily, soaking up details of the lives she was missing. After 30 minutes, Mitchell took the kids to get snacks from the vending machines. Vanessa and I sat alone. I'm sorry, she said quietly. For everything. For laughing at you. For stealing from Mom. For being such a terrible sister. I know. Do you forgive me? I thought about that. About 2 years of caregiving. About the laughter when I asked for my share. About Mom's secret account that she'd created because she knew Vanessa couldn't be trusted. I'm working on it, I said honestly. But it's going to take time. I have 4 years, Vanessa said with a bitter laugh. Plenty of time. The foundation grew. By year 2, we'd helped 35 caregivers. By year 3, 50. I recruited volunteers. Other former caregivers who understood the struggle. We hosted support groups, connected people with resources, provided not just money but community. One caregiver, a man named Andre, told me I felt invisible. Like nobody understood that I'd given up everything to take care of my wife. Your foundation saw me. That mattered more than the money. I knew exactly what he meant. Being seen. Being valued. It was what I'd wanted from Mom and never got. But I was creating it for others. And that felt like enough. The story of the foundation started attracting media attention. Local news first. Then a profile in a caregiving magazine. Then an invitation to speak at a national conference about family caregiving. I stood on that stage and told my story. Not the angry version. The honest version. About loving someone who didn't value you. About sacrificing and getting nothing. About finding purpose in pain. My mother left me out of her will, I told the audience. My sister inherited millions. But my mother also left me a secret gift. Not just money. The knowledge that she saw what I was doing. That she valued it even if she couldn't say it. The standing ovation surprised me. These were people who understood. Who'd lived similar stories. After the speech, a woman approached me. I'm a writer for a major magazine. I'd like to do a feature on you and the foundation. The magazine article came out 6 months later. The Caregiver's Revenge, how one woman turned family betrayal into a foundation. It was honest. Detailed. It told the whole story. The golden child sister. The theft. The hidden account. The foundation born from pain. The response was overwhelming. Donations poured in. Other caregivers reached out wanting to volunteer. People shared their own stories of family betrayal and sacrifice. The Foundation's board, which I'd established to ensure proper oversight, voted to expand. We could now help 100 caregivers a year. Then 200. Vanessa's lawyer called. My client saw the article. She wants to speak with you. I arranged a visit. This time without the kids. Just us. Vanessa looked better. Less defeated. She'd been working in the prison library, teaching other inmates to read. I read the article, she said. About the foundation. About Mom's hidden account. Did you know about it? No. But I'm not surprised she did it. Vanessa looked down at her hands. I knew I had a problem. With money. With control. I thought I could manage it. Keep it hidden. You stole from Mom. I know. Her voice broke. I was desperate. My firm was investigating. I'd made bad investments with client money. I thought if I could just borrow from Mom temporarily, pay it back later. But you couldn't pay it back. No. It got worse. I took more. Then more. Until I couldn't stop. We sat in silence. Finally, Vanessa spoke again. The article said you're helping caregivers. People like you were. That's really beautiful, Riley. It helps me process what happened. I want to help. When I get out. If you'll let me. She met my eyes. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. but maybe I can earn it. What are you thinking? I was a lawyer. I know estate law. I could help caregivers navigate the legal system. Pro bono. Make sure they get the reimbursement they deserve. Make sure nobody else gets exploited like Mom was. I studied my sister. Was this real? Or another manipulation? You'd have to prove yourself, I said carefully. Rebuild trust. Show that you've actually changed. I know. I have 2 more years in here. Then I'm on probation. But after that, if you'd give me a chance. We'll see. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was possibility. And maybe that was enough. The foundation continued growing. By year 4, we'd helped over 300 caregivers. We'd given out over $1 million in grants. We'd built a community of people who understood. I was featured in more articles. Asked to speak at conferences. Invited to consult with policymakers about caregiver support. The quiet nurse who'd sacrificed everything had become a voice for the voiceless. Vanessa was released after serving 3 years. Good behavior. Participation in rehabilitation programs. A model prisoner. She moved into a modest apartment. Got a job at a non-profit legal clinic. Started rebuilding her life piece by piece. True to her word, she volunteered with the foundation. At first, just a few hours a week. Reviewing grant applications. Identifying caregivers who needed legal help. I watched her carefully, looking for signs of the old Vanessa. The entitled golden child. The thief. But she seemed genuinely changed. Humbled. Grateful for any chance to help. After 6 months, I invited her to join the board. You'd have to disclose your conviction. Your history. Everything. I understand. And you'd be working with people you once looked down on. Caregivers. People who chose service over success. I was wrong about that. About so many things. She looked at me. I'm not asking to be welcomed back as family. Just given a chance to do something meaningful. The board approved her with conditions. Probationary status. No access to funds. Complete transparency. Vanessa threw herself into the work. She created a legal assistance program for caregivers fighting for reimbursement. Wrote guides about navigating estate law. Trained volunteers on how to document expenses properly. She was good at it. Really good. And for the first time in her life, she wasn't doing it for money or status. She was doing it because it mattered. 5 years after Mom's death, the foundation held its anniversary gala. 200 people attended. Caregivers we'd helped. Donors who'd supported us. Volunteers who'd built the community. I gave a speech about our journey. About how pain could become purpose. About how betrayal could teach you what really mattered. When my sister laughed at me for asking about my inheritance, she thought she'd won. She had the money, the status, the success. I looked at Vanessa, sitting in the audience. But she hadn't won. She'd lost something more valuable. Her integrity. Her family. Her freedom. Vanessa was crying. So was I. The real inheritance wasn't money. It was the chance to choose who we'd become. How we'd respond to injustice. Whether we'd let bitterness consume us or transform us. The applause was thunderous. After the speech, Vanessa approached. Thank you. For giving me a second chance. For showing me what really matters. You're earning it every day. I'll never stop trying. I owe you that. I owe Mom that. We hugged. Really hugged. For the first time in years. It wasn't the relationship we'd had as children. We'd never be the golden child and the overlooked daughter again. Too much had happened. Too much pain. But we were building something new. Something based on honesty and work and redemption. That was better than gold. The foundation continued expanding. We launched chapters in 3 other states. Helped thousands of caregivers. Changed laws around caregiver reimbursement in 2 states. I was invited to testify before Congress about the need for better support systems for family caregivers. Spoke about the financial devastation. The lack of legal protections. The way society expected people to sacrifice everything without compensation. Policies started changing. Slowly. Small victories. But victories nonetheless. Vanessa became the foundation's legal director. Working full-time. Using her law degree to help instead of hurt. She'd been reinstated to the bar after 5 years of good behavior and community service. Sometimes I think about Mom, she told me one day. We were reviewing applications together. About how disappointed she'd be in what I became. She'd also be proud of what you're becoming. You think. I know. Mom valued success, but she also valued redemption. She gave me that secret account because she believed I deserved better. She'd believe the same about you now. Vanessa wiped her eyes. I wish I could tell her I'm sorry. I think she knows. Maya and Cameron were teenagers now. Maya wanted to be a nurse like me. Cameron was interested in law like his mom had been. But I want to be the good kind of lawyer, he said. Like Mom is now. Helping people. Vanessa beamed with pride. Not the entitled golden child pride. Real pride. Earned pride. That's the best kind, I told him. 10 years after Mom's death, I stood at her grave with Vanessa. We'd never visited together before. Too much anger. Too much pain. I brought flowers, Vanessa said, placing roses on the headstone. Her favorite. Mine too. I added lilies. We stood in comfortable silence. Two sisters who'd been enemies. Who'd fought over money and status and Mom's love. Who'd both lost and found themselves in the process. Do you think she'd forgive me? Vanessa asked quietly. I think she already has. Mom wasn't perfect. She made mistakes. Favored you. Undervalued me. But she loved us both. The secret account proves that. She protected you. She protected both of us. That money didn't just save me financially. It gave me the resources to build something meaningful, which gave you a path to redemption. Vanessa nodded. Everything happens for a reason? Maybe. Or maybe we just make meaning from what happens to us. We walked back to the car together. Vanessa was driving us to a foundation event. We had 50 new grant recipients to celebrate. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Aunt Riley, I got accepted to nursing school. Can't wait to tell you everything. I showed Vanessa. She smiled. She's going to be amazing. Like her aunt. She's going to be herself. That's better. The foundation had grown beyond anything I'd imagined. We'd helped over 5,000 caregivers. Given out $12 million in grants. Changed laws in 15 states. Built a movement. All because my sister laughed when I asked about my share. All because Mom left me a secret gift. All because I chose to turn pain into purpose. The call from the accountant that day, the one that found Mom's hidden account, had ended Vanessa's smile. But it had started something bigger than either of us. It had started a revolution in how we value caregivers. How we protect the vulnerable. How we measure what really matters. And that was worth more than $7 million. That was worth everything.